Promising Young Woman.
Yes, which.
So do you want to give us a little bit about the film, the year it came out,
I would
stuff like that?
love to, because this is one of my favourite films of all time, and possibly my favourite film that's come out this decade so far. So, Promising Young Woman is about a woman called Cassie, played by the fantastic Carey Mulligan, who goes after toxic men who by pretending to be pissed and trying to teach them a lesson. Why she does this is because her friend got sexually assaulted and later killed herself, and so she kind of does it for vengeance for her.
Mm-hmm.
But after dating an old classmate at med school, she finds out the person that her friend is getting married, so she decides to enact revenge on him.
Mm-hmm. And then, obviously, we're not going to spoil the ending because that would be a bit too harsh, yeah. Fantastic story, fantastic film, not a perfect director.
She was lucky to make a good directorial debut.
Yeah, I think as a directorial debut, it works perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, it's you've really sort of hit the ground running with this film. I think her later work doesn't show enough.
No, Saltburn's entertaining, but it's not as good in quality.
It's a hype film.
Yeah.
You know, it's primarily hype. When this was, again, I would say, yes, it does deal with some strong themes. And there are, trigger warnings in case you don't like listening to this kind of stuff. But it really does show the female perspective in a very sobering light. Like, obviously, we're aware of the female perspective.
Yes,
we're not women.
No.
We are men, so we don't.
We love women.
But we're not women, so we don't see it explicitly from their perspective. But we are empathetic enough to understand that, the struggles they have to go through in society, and like, they can't let their hair down at parties because they're worried about, being taken advantage of and possibly assaulted.
Yeah.
It's a really horrible thing where women, in every aspect of their life, from the moment they leave the house, they have to put on a front, they have to put on a mask, they have to adhere to societal values, or they have to keep stum, because if they expose anyone, or if they say anything, they're criticised or they're judged, or all that kind of stuff. So I really do think this film works on a very good story aspect.
Yeah.
The cinematography is great as well.
Which is also shot by the same cinematographer as The Substance.
Yes. Although you can't really tell. There's all obvious differences between them.
Yeah.
I think with The Substance they take more inspiration from like classic film.
Yeah, like Stanley Kubrick.
And Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
But I think with Promising Young Woman, it feels like a fresh voice. It feels like it's something that no one has ever done before. Or to the extent of what they do.
And even though it's stylish, it's not artsy, if you know what I mean.
No, I have a term called wanky, which is synonymous with like pretentiousness.
Yeah.
I don't like pretentious films. I find pretentious films great on my feelings, because the last thing I want is for someone to think something means some. Personally, I like ambiguity when it's done right. I don't like ambiguity if you're just doing it for the sake of being stylish.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind you having a colour palette in a film or having certain colour choices in a shot or a scene.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is that ending to the episode of Daredevil and where Daredevil's in red and Wilson Fisk is in white, that's a perfect idea of colour and a good representation of colour.
Definitely.
You know, but what I will say is when you're just throwing in colour or stylish shots for the sake of looking artsy, you come across as pretentious.
That's what Madam Web had a problem with.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't help that it was just a bad project anyway.
Yeah.
And it was trying to appear feminist on the surface when actually...
It was just crap.
It was. So, I think it has some really good choices, and I think the direction around it and the creative team around it did a fantastic job. Did you want to talk a little bit about the actors involved?
In Promising Young Woman, yes, because what I was saying to Chris whilst we were watching this before we recorded was every actor is cast against type. We normally see Carey Mulligan play the love interest type, and she's actually being the female lead, and she's not being a lovey-dovey character, she's being this woman warrior figure. Bo Burnham's normally like the funny man, but in this he's kind of a bit more serious. Clancy Brown is normally these horrible villains, but he plays her loving father. And Jennifer Coolidge is normally playing these bubbly, lovely women, and she's playing a bitchy mum. And most of these actors all play, like Adam Brody, Alison Brie, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, there's a couple of other people. They all play lovely guys on TV, but in this they all play horrible people. That's why I think it's well casted.
And also the cast, yes, they're very popular actors, mix of, you know, A, B and C listers.
Yeah.
But I think it's a credit to the casting director, the producers and the director herself.
Yeah.
That they went for actors who weren't just famous. Because I don't like the idea that nowadays casting directors are told to cast people on the number of Instagram followers they have, for example. I think it's ridiculous because
it's so ridiculous.
Because you can't judge an actor's performance based on their followers. Their followers are just people that, I've seen you in this thing, so I'm going to follow you.
It's like I was saying to you about Jesse Plemons. He might not be popular, but he's more talented than most of the actors who get leads.
Exactly. And you really do see the calibre of talent on screen. Bo Burnham, I will say, one of my favourite comedians of all time. But he really does tackle the role of Ryan so well. And bearing in mind, before Promising Young Woman, he had only done one or two projects.
Yeah.
One of them being a semi-biographical show of his own life.
Oh, the Zach Cherry one.
The Zack Stone's going to be famous.
That's Zack Stone.
Yeah. So bearing in mind, Bo Burnham is probably the one actor in this film that has the least amount of filmography, anything to back up.
Yeah, because I've seen him in bit roles in Adam Sandler movies and Scarlett Johansson movies, but that's it.
But again, it's bit roles where he's only got a couple of lines of dialogue.
But at least now he's got notice of Adam Sandler and Scarlett Johansson, so they can shout his name out.
Yeah, but I think as a comedian turned actor, he does a very, very good job at coming across as the character and not hamming up the acting side of things.
Yeah.
That, you know, I will say this: Carrie does the best performance in the film.
Oh, she does.
She is phenomenal.
She should have won Best Actress.
I don't know about Best Actress, because who else was up in that year?
Frances McDormand won for Nomadland.
Mm,
Carrie should have won over her.
I think maybe a BAFTA.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Don't
don't know about Oscar. But I mean, I judge the BAFTAs on a difference. For me, BAFTAs are British talent first.
Yeah.
So I praise the BAFTAs more because of the British talent that emerge from it and the films that are chosen. But Carrie, I feel like she has gone from strength to strength within her career.
Absolutely.
The film she did after this about the Weinstein scandal.
She said that's a great movie.
You know, she really does pick her roles. I mean, her agent must be one of the best agents in Hollywood, because every role she's picked or been picked for has pretty much escalated her. Like, she's always had a bounce up. She's never had a bounce down.
No.
Or drop down. So I think that works. And obviously Jennifer Coolidge, perfect in everything she ever does.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like her hammy comedy side.
No.
But I feel like it's good in this film because she's toned down.
Yeah.
You know, she just portrays herself as just a genuine actor.
Yeah, exactly. Clancy Brown's the best.
And yeah, Clancy Brown does a phenomenal job of. I mean, everything he does is phenomenal, but he does a really good job of being that loving father who doesn't get in the daughter's way, but means well.
It's nice to see him tackle a role like this.
And yeah, I think this is in his later career, for him to be taking on these kind of roles is quite perfect.
Yeah.
You know, he'll be getting towards that grandfather age. I think he's in that age sort of bracket soon. So, you know, I can see him becoming like a loving granddad.
Definitely.
And obviously you've got like Christopher Mintz-Plasse, who is only in that one scene.
Yeah.
But
same with Adam Brody as well.
Adam Brody as well, but he nails that, you know, perfectly. It's just a very well-rounded film, isn't it?
Definitely.
The subject matter is contentious.
I would recommend this to people who are a little bit uncomfortable with the subject.
Yeah, I think it is a very good. I think it's a very good film to learn the female perspective from.
Absolutely.
I think it does a very good job of addressing the struggles of you know, trying to be a woman in a society.
Wish it would make a beep.
I wish it would let me know.
Exactly.
I think this film does a very good job at highlighting the female perspective whilst showing the effects it has on both women and men. I do think it sort of leans onto toxic men a bit too much. I think,
but it doesn't come across as bashing all male people.
It doesn't necessarily, but I do think, and I think this is more of a case of society as a whole.
Yeah.
But I think that the lack of actual good men in the film, because let's be honest, the only good man
is her dad. Yeah.
Everyone else has some
sort of chip on their shoulder.
Or you see a dark side of their personality.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we had that redeeming character in the middle.
Alfred Molina's character, obviously, he's only in that one scene, but that's the only character I think really shows genuine remorse.
Yeah.
Because as we were saying when we were watching it, when Ryan, Bo Burnham's character, is trying to express remorse, you really see how he's trying to appear remorseful without actually yeah. Like, Alfred Molina looks like he's really broken down, and he's really been affected by the choices that he made, and he knows that the weight of the court case that he won, you know, it has ripple effects.
Because they pushed him aside.
Yeah, but like there was, you know, there were court that with seeking out justice in a court of law, it is very difficult because there needs to be the lack of doubt.
And again,
you know, there's that.
And again, we know he's good at playing characters like that because of Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, but I'm trying to see him as less Spider-Man 2 and more just him as just an actor in that role. But what I'm saying is with trying to seek justice in situations of assault and rape, it's very difficult because there has to be a certain level of evidence and it has to be convincing enough to remove any reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of the nature of those crimes and the way that they are, the way they are committed, it is very difficult to seek that level of justice from the crime.
Yeah.
And so you do see the sense, you kind of do agree with Carrie's character of, well, I need to take justice into my own hands.
Yeah.
I need to be the person fighting my friend's corner because no one else has.
Exactly.
No one else will. So I've got to do it myself. And we've all been in that situation where we've all had friends.
And you know what? She tries to drop it and move on. She actually tries, bless her.
Mm-hmm. And she does a really, really good job until she's pulled back into it.
Yeah.
And she's only pulled back into it by Alison Brie's character.
Yeah.
Which I think, I don't know about you, but I thought that Alison Brie's character coming back into it and dropping the video was a really good idea, but you really do get a sense of, oh, crud, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, we're sinking this character back into her situation when she was doing so well at recovery.
Yeah.
And you know, it is that awful thing of, unfortunately, that sometimes it does take a hold of you.
Yeah.
You know, these situations these characters face, they do take a hold of you. So all in all, I do think it was very good.
Did you prefer it the first time or the second time I've shown you?
I think you appreciate it more on a second watch because
Absolutely.
as much as it's great on a first watch, it's fantastic. Like the conclusion, the ending is so impactful on a first watch that when you get round to it on a second and you know what's coming, you're feeling the dread.
Yeah.
You're feeling, you know,
So you looked pretty glued to that last act.
Well, I was when it was starting to transition into that last act, I was thinking, like, because I hadn't watched it in quite a while.
Since the first time, I showed
Yeah.
it.
I hadn't watched it in quite a while, and so there was a part of me that was like, I don't want her to enter the house. We won't go any further, but
Same, but
I don't want her to enter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want her to enter that. Why is she getting out the car? Why is she doing this?
Why is she hiding her car?
Yeah. So there was that element of, yeah, things are going to get worse very, very quickly. And the conclusion is impactful. But I think on a second time, as you said, you notice that Ryan's character is a little bit more, like, he comes across as more of a dick.
Yeah.
When on a first watch, I was very encapsulated by Bo's performance, and therefore I didn't necessarily see it at first.
No,
and
I completely get it.
Like, I think because he plays the role so well, you want to see him as a likeable character, and then when you see the effect of, you know,
what he's done.
Yeah, his past, you see the fact that actually the veil has lifted, the mask has come off. This guy is a horrible person and has done horrible things, and
I'm glad she's found out about it.
And yeah, because you didn't want the whole him. You wouldn't want that to lie. In the film, you wouldn't want her to not know what happened, or to ever find out, and so for her to find out, it's tragic because you liked her, you liked their relationship, you liked the fact that it was growing, and you could see that he was changing her, for the better, even though he's a bad character, he was clearly, yes, there is a smidge of remorse for what he did, but it's not enough.
No.
And then, you know, you get that bittersweet ending.
Yeah.
So, all in all, I do think it's
definitely one of the better movies to come out this decade.
It's definitely one of the better movies to come out, but I think when we look at feminist films, this is kind of like the template.
Yeah.
This is... Obviously, not every feminist film can have the heavy subject matter and just talk constantly about it. But I think if we are going to look at more feminist-led films, we need to start looking at what is it about our society that makes women uncomfortable.
I just can't believe the film is 5 years old already. Came out in 2020.
Wow. You know what hit me the other day?
What?
Demon Days is 20.
I know.
20 years old.
I know. We're all getting older.
And I remember when Demon Days came out, it was one of my favourite albums. And you will hear more about Demon Days in a future episode, because we will be talking more about music.
Oh, nice.
That is one of the segments that I'm going to start introducing.
Oh, brill.
Because we're not always going to talk about music, but we are going to talk about, I think, music milestones or something around that nature. So do stay tuned for more of that.
Oh, that is one. Speaking of music, I love the instrumentals of Toxic as she's walking towards the house.
Yeah. I think the choice of music was very good.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, music as a whole is something that always accompanies a good film. You know, you can tell a good film by the music choices it makes.
Oh, definitely.
So, that is another episode of the KHM Podcast.
Yes.
Thank you very much for listening, if you are listening for free. Obviously, if you're signed up to the website, if you become a donator, then you get free access to the video version of this.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
But stay tuned for more. If you'd like to know more, do go via our website, www.keziahhydemedia.com, and check out, we've got reviews, we've got articles, we will be bringing out more stuff later on this month.
I should
and
have
in
a
the
few
year.
more stories coming out as well.
Yes, Robbie has been working on some more short stories, so do stay tuned for that, and hopefully we'll see you again in the next podcast.
Yes, see you soon, everyone.
And just as a final thing, as we said earlier, if there's anything you'd like us to review or comment on, whether that be a short film, whether it be a song, whether it be anything you create independently, reach out to us and we will give you a shout out on the show, because the whole point of Keziah Hyde Media is we want to highlight great filmmaking, great creating, great creativity. So thank you very much for watching, thank you for listening, and we will see you in the next one.